So here we are looking at build 21337, and one of the features that I read that you can do now is you can reorganize your virtual desktop windows. And basically, to get to the virtual desktops, all you do is you press Windows key plus tab, and then you see desktop 1 and 2 for me. You may not have a second desktop, so you'll have to create one if you want to try it out. But here it is. So you can see desktop 1 is the one I'm currently on. You see it's surrounded in orange light around it there. I can click on desktop 2, which is this one here, which is the screenshot window, which is the main one that I typically use. So if I want to go back into it, Windows key plus tab, and to reorganize them, you can either just drag them just like that, and you can also just press Windows key plus. Another feature that is out now for this build is the ability to individually change your background of each virtual desktop. So in order to do that, you'll go into your settings, you go to background, you can just search for background in settings, and then you'll see these pictures here. So my pictures are obviously going to be different from yours, but whichever pictures are there, when you select under picture for background, they say that you can right click each picture and you can set for the whichever desktop you have. So you can set it for all the desktops, or you can set it for either desktop 1 or 2, which is the ones that I currently have. Those are the names that I named my virtual desktops. So what I want to do is to switch it up. I'm going to say for desktop 2, switch it to that little aquarium looking, the fish style looking one. So let's close it, and you can see the fist is still there for this virtual desktop that I'm in. But if I hit Windows key plus tab, you can see the background has just changed to this like swimmer, background that I chose in settings. So that's pretty cool. It lets you pretty much customize your virtual desktops a lot more, instead of just have one desktop background for your entire OS. So two things that they also allowed you to do now is auto HDR, which is in preview for PC. Basically, there's about 1,000 titles they said here, HDR visuals on over 1,000 DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 games. And you can click the blog post to see more about what they're talking about. But basically, if you go into settings, which I'll show you just now, if you go to settings and you hit, there you go, and then you go to pretty much you just type in HDR or Windows color settings. I'll just go to Windows HD color settings because it makes it so much easier to view it. And then if you can scroll down, if your monitor supports HDR, you'll see those options able to tweak. My monitor does support HDR, so you can see here as you scroll down, by default, most people, their monitor, you checked HDR off. Most people, you never went to this settings screen. But if you check it on to turn on HDR, it'll kind of dim your screen a little bit. And then you can check off Stream HDR video if it's possible, which I did. And then down here, this is the new option right there. You get the auto HDR option. It says get a brighter and more detailed picture by enhancing eligible games from SDR to HDR. Now, one thing that I noticed with this feature, and what makes me feel like either I don't have the feature like as well as they want it to be or not, is that you would think the idea of auto HDR is that as soon as I get into a game, HDR just flips on automatically, and that should be the way it works on Xbox as well, but you have to turn on HDR for that to work. So this is a way that you can just check it off, and if the game supports it, by default it'll go into HDR mode, which is pretty dope. Hopefully it works really well. I haven't been able to really play a game that has it because my computer would run very slowly if I did anything like that, but this is one of the new features also for this build. So here, the next feature in this build is File Explorer layout update. Now, all they're telling you in this whole paragraph is that if you go to the view options, and then you can see under the folders and options, which I'll show you in a second, you can choose use compact mode, which brings back the classic layout of File Explorer, which is more compact, more information dense, if you like more information dense screens. But their new method is tailored towards more modern XAML experiences, which kind of makes it easier to work with touchscreens where you need like more space for your finger to press something before you press like 3 things at once. So in order to see that as well, I brought up this picture here. And these are the 2 pictures that I had open when I was trying to compare the differences between the 2. Now I'm going to scroll in just to be about right here, and you guys can see for yourself kind of where this is at. So one thing you might notice or you might not notice, the way this feature works is that you simply go to your view tab up here, and then you go over to options. And when you click on options, you go to view in this corner here, and you scroll down. I'll zoom in on it for you guys to view it easier. And you can see here it says use compact mode. Now, right now we're in the normal mode. So if you say I want to view compact mode and you hit apply, it makes everything more dense together. It's kind of hard to notice. You have to look really closely, but it makes everything more dense together, or you can hit uncheck it and things just spread out more. Obviously, this thing just zoomed everything around the place, so it's kind of hard to notice. You'd really have to try it out for yourself. But in a nutshell, what Microsoft says is that it's supposed to make it either A, more information dense if you choose to check off the option, which is the classic option, or by default it is going to spread out things a little bit more, so that way there's less information being thrown at you at once if that's not something you like. And next up here we have updates to caption settings for Windows Insiders. Basically now you have some more choices with the caption style. It says here you can actually, and next up here we have updates to the caption settings for Windows Insiders. Basically all they say is to get started you go to settings, ease of access, hearing, and captions, and you can tweak more caption styles, whether they're gonna have black backgrounds, white backgrounds, and so on, with contrasting text. That way if you're more have more worse eyes than the usual, you can easily just see the text easier, just like it's on TV pretty much. So to get into that, let's jump in. So to get started with that, all you would have to do simply is you go to your settings, you go to ease of access, and then over here on this left sidebar here, you see captions under hearing, and then you can see this picture. This picture is probably flickering for you guys too. It's only because of the recording, but it says white on black, and you can click it, and you can do small text, you can do large text. So if you have worse eyes, you can see it easier, or yellow on blue if you're colorblind, or whatever you want to do. It makes it easier, and you can also customize and create new caption styles. That way it can be exactly tailored to what is best for you so that you can see better. So this applies to all videos and things that are playing audio and so on and so forth. Now, next up is probably the little more controversial choices that Microsoft decided to do. So now it says Notepad is going to be able to be updated in the Microsoft Store, as well as its new icon, which you see right there. It says also Windows Terminal is now an inbox app. So basically what an inbox app is, and it's kind of to me, it's not a very good name, but that's what they use. An inbox app essentially is an app that comes essentially in the OS by default. So it's basically an OS default app. They call it an inbox app. So Power Automate Desktop is also an inbox app as well. And then also it says updating WordPad integration. So to make small changes to Word or Notepad text editor of choice when launching different file types, but if WordPad is your text editor of choice, it's still available. So they were doing this just in case people are like, what about WordPad? It is still there if that's your editor of choice. So now we're down to near the final parts of this update. It says for changes and improvements, they included a new IME candidate window design to all insiders using Japanese, Chinese, traditional, and also the Indic or Indic IMEs. So basically, it was available in preview, limited for, limited subset of Windows Insiders, but now it's coming out to all insiders, which is pretty solid. The next thing you can do here, it says we're updating the emoji panel, Windows key dot period, to support searching in more languages, and those are all the languages there, including Cantonese and so on. And then on top of that too, it says live previews for websites to pin to the taskbar from Microsoft Edge are now rolling out to all insiders. So if you use Microsoft Edge, which I do sometimes, I mainly use Brave, as you can tell, you can see live previews for websites that are pinned to the taskbar. And then one final thing of a change/improvement, says they moved the settings for showing Windows Ink Workspace, touch keyboard button, and task view from right clicking on the taskbar to settings personalization taskbar. So that's why I believe I said in the beginning of the video that you can no longer right click and choose like I just show me task view. Now you have to go into settings in order to get to that option, or what you can do is just hit Windows key tab and you'll see it right there. So there are those, and then there's some fixes here. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll go through like 3 of them. But again, going down, let me see, there's one thing right here. It says we fixed an issue in recent builds that can result in search not opening after clicking the search box in the taskbar. So if you're one of those people that needs search they fixed that issue now. It says they also fixed an issue resulting in some insiders noticing the system file checker tool would erroneously say it found corrupt files the first time it was run after each upgrade. So that is fixed now. And then one final thing that I wanted to cover here, it says we fixed an issue in recent flights that can result in some games freezing after locking and unlocking your PC while the game was in full screen mode. This issue may have resulted in freezes after Alt Tab. I never had that issue myself, but it's good that that actually has come out, because if you're a PC gamer like I am, you don't want that to happen. Sometimes you have to step away for a second, or you have to check a different tab when you're streaming, and then it can just crash your game in the middle of the stream, and that doesn't look good on you. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. There's a whole bunch of things. There's known issues. There's a whole bunch of things here, and I could go on this video for hours talking about it, but that is it in a nutshell. That is Windows 10 Insider Preview build 21337. Let me know what you guys think. If you found any issues, I'm very curious on what issues you found, or if you didn't notice some things that I mentioned. Leave them in the comment section below, and subscribe. We're getting closer to 900, and take care, everybody.